I am Yuta Tomikawa of Toyota Times, and we are having this important notice on short notice on Toyota Times. And for this notice to information session, we have made it so that it will be a press conference as well. And thank you very much for these many media personnel to come to the venue. And also there are many connected remotely. Thank you very much. Just an hour and a half ago, we have issued a press release. And at 2026, the April 1st executive changes have been announced. And for the representative director and president, he will become the vice chairman, chief industry officer, CIO, and operating officer Kenta Kon. He will be assuming the position of president and CEO. And with this change, Sato-san here will be looking at the focusing on the whole car industry, and Kon-san, he will be focusing more on the company of TMC. So this will be the new formation of the executive structure. Thank you very much for your understanding. And we would have these gentlemen to take a seat now to proceed. And later on, we would like to receive questions from the floor as well, but please allow me to start with the first questions. I'd like to ask Koji-san first, Sato-san first. So why is it that Toyota decided to change to this new executive structure? And as a reason for your decision, can you explain? Yes, thank you. Well, I'd like to say first that it was a short notice, but thank you so much for attending our Toyota Times live interview today, and also many connected remotely. I appreciate this very much. So Tomikawa-san first asked about what is the purpose and why we have made this decision for the executive change. I'd like to provide my explanation. For the purpose of this organizational change, it is to enable Toyota to fully address the management changes that it is now facing. So it is what we think of as a formation change. And for the various challenges that we have, the first management challenge we're facing is the need to enhance the company's earning power to support our future. Toyota, in the past 2 years, we have been working on the foundation strengthening efforts. And from there, the environment surrounding us has pushed us to do a gear change toward improving productivity and also to create ever better, more affordable vehicles. We find ourselves to have shifted into this phase. So that is the first management challenge, and that we would also like to deal with this formation change. And also now the next challenge is to accelerate our industry collaboration. In order to maintain the international competitiveness for the car industry going forward, the whole industry should be united to advance our concrete collaboration initiatives and identify the pathways for Japan to remain competitiveness. In order to evolve vehicles in tandem with the social infrastructure, collaboration with partners beyond our industry is becoming key. In other words, for Toyota, more than before, the role that Toyota should play within the industry is becoming larger and more important than ever. And against this backdrop, the executive appointment meeting of Toyota has provided a proposal, and that proposal has been a trigger to examine the optimal organization structure for Toyota in light of the current management challenges we are facing. And based on this kind of discussions and deliberations, we determined that a change in the management team's formation is necessary for the future of Toyota and also for the industry. And with that, consequently, we have held the board of directors meeting, and the board approved these role changes today. So Kenta Kon, he will become the president and CEO and have a focus internally and drive the initiatives to enhance our company's earning power. That will be his role. And for Kon-san, a current operating officer, he possesses strong expertise in accounting and finance. And most recently, as many of you know, he is the CFO of Woven by Toyota, and he has the perspective to look at TMC see from the outside and has been leading cross-functional reforms across the organization. And we believe that in advancing the earning power initiatives, he will be able to leverage his strengths to provide the strong leadership that we will need to advance our initiatives. And for myself, I will become the vice chairman and also the chief industry officer, CIO, and I will focus my efforts on the broader industry, including the Japan Automobile Manufacturers Association and Keidanren. And I intend to be able to accelerate the pace of the collaboration. So I intend to be more active than ever on the ground, on the front lines connecting Toyota with the industry. And for Toyota and at Toyota, what we believe is that we should work based on our roles and not our titles. This has been always the core of our communication. And since I became president, what was always on my mind is to maintain the speed of management and also to continue to take action. So this is the team management philosophy that our Toyota executive team has always been valuing. We want to contribute to revitalize further the automotive industry and also Japan. And under this new formation, we want to fully carry out our respective roles. We sincerely ask for your continued understanding and support. Thank you. Thank you. So, of course, as the new structure, you explained the new formation. And from this executive appointing meeting, when you received the proposal, what was your impression? Well, honestly speaking, because I'm a human being, at that moment, I actually had a lot of thinking in myself, because at JAMA, there was a discussion of selection of chairman, and that discussion started in autumn, and I was discussing with many top management. And because of several reasons, they have asked that Toyota could take the lead in JAMA. And this activity at JAMA and also the job of taking responsibility at Toyota, I was wondering if I could do both at the full scope. I was actually asking myself. But it is quite difficult also to speak up about this struggling point. And then there was this proposal from the executive appointment meeting. And then I was wondering if I could serve both of those roles in this formation. And I think this proposal was quite effective in terms of a governance, because from the third party's view, this position is quite overload. And then because of the proposal from this appointment meeting, I became very objective and then started to think that this is something that I should consider. I see. So the vice president of Keidanren and vice chairman of JAMA and also some of your works for the central government, you were quite busy, and you also were thinking you wanted to continue your role of president. Of course, because I've been working at Gemba all along and I love cars. And of course, I always have been asking myself what the role should be to become a president, because car making is something that you can stake your life for. And of course, I had a part of me was really had this attachment to this. So that was a conflict and struggling point. So Akio-san served as a president for 14 years, and your term was 3 years. Is it too short? Well, I knew you were going to ask this question. Well, honestly speaking, I think it is short. However, there are 2 points I have in my mind. First of all, it's still 3 years, but it's already 3 years. When you think of the speed of the auto industry, it is not that lukewarm. In other words, the time frame in the past is completely different with this current 3 years. And then when I became the president, Chairman Akio, when he asked me to become president, car making in 14 years of his presidency, it's still not complete. And then he wanted me to work together with him to complete this work for the finale. And that was the starting point. And so Chairman Toyota, at the end of January, when he asked me to take some time for discussion, he said that he wanted to serve so that he can contribute to make Japan better. He sincerely talked about this, and that is the same Mr. Akio Toyoda, who said that we want to make Japan better. And so with his words, it really accelerated my decision. And another point is that, of course, the first player would always win. What I mean is that as a top management, I should not be the I in the sentence. If I become the subject, then I would not be able to make the crystal clear solution, because I want to do this and I want to do that. So I didn't want to be the subject in a sentence. It's not I, it's we. So when you think of that, there was a selection of chairman at JAMA, and then if there are things that has to be done at this timing, although the 3 years was so short, but that is not the reason for anything. So I thought you did something bad because it was so short, 3 years. And I'm sure some of the attendants of this press conference are thinking about the same. Yes, so honestly speaking, some of my friends text me and ask me if I did something bad, what did you do? So to avoid any misunderstanding, there is no wrongdoing. I have to be clear about this. And like I said, there was a very positive, forward-looking discussion at the company. So please understand this. And then to all my friends, I have to tell them not to send me a weird text. Is that your final answer? There's no wrongdoing, nothing. So as was mentioned in the press release, it is not just the executive change in the 1st of April, but as of the shareholders meeting in June this year, there's going to be announcements, and you are going to no longer be a board member. That is correct. There are 2 points to this. The first of which is we are aware of the corporate governance code, and the way corporate governance should be is that so Toyota has been making efforts to improve the management, and we want to be very much aware of that. BOD has to be participated, all board members, and then they discuss seriously about how Toyota can win. So all the board members are always present at the BOD meeting, and diversity of the BOD members and numbers of board members are the important points for us to consider at TMC. And as I became the vice chairman, the general public, they are very conscious of titles, but at Toyota, that is not the case. And so, in one sense, from the viewpoint of corporate governance, we want to stick to what Toyota believes, and that is the one reason. And second of all, what we try to do in the future. And if I have this role of the board member at Toyota, it might not always be helpful to wear that badge or hat for my future role, because at JAMA there are very cross-industrial topics, and then in some cases, we do agree with the whole overall topic, but there are some oppositions amongst some companies. And when that happens, if I'm wearing the hat of Toyota, then it could sound like a pressure, peer pressure from Toyota. I was struggling all along. I tried to convince everyone to do something for industry, but if I am wearing a hat of Toyota, there remains to be seen how much understanding we can get from the peers. So I wanted to go back to scratch
And I wanted to be the person who can connect all these passions and intentions of all the companies in the industries. Otherwise, it would not be possible to do a crossing industry or the reform that is to be done in the industry. So that is another reason. So, Kon-san, thank you for waiting. This time, the role change, when and from who you were informed about this? Yes, it was in middle of January. When, just like Sato-san said, there was a executive appointment meeting. Members talked to me about this concept. So what was your first impression about it? Well, I am sorry for the executives, but I was so surprised. And I totally blacked out. And I think I listened very well to this story, but I don't really remember what I heard at that time. And as Sato-san said, those purpose and intention of this role change was explained by the executive who were in the same meeting to inform me, but I was like, wow. So you were very surprised? You didn't think it would be you? Yes, that is true. Who did you think it would be? I wasn't thinking about it so much because it was only 3 years. That is correct. But Kon-san, you used to be a vice president. When you were executive vice president, did you think that you would be the president afterwards? No, that I wasn't thinking that either. Then it's really like a big shock to you, like the world collapsed. Yes, you can say that. So probably it was difficult for you to kind of heighten your motivation for your new role. Yes, I think so too. At this point of time today, it's not that I am foreseeing many things going forward and clearly thinking what are my plans to move forward. My honest feeling is that nothing is clear crystal clear at this point of time. And for what Sato-san has mentioned before me, it is also new things that I've learned today as I was listening to Sato-san, and also with Chairman Sato-san and the other operating officers. I will continue to communicate with them and talk with them about and consult with them what kind of direction we should move forward after April and what would be the formation of the management team. And now it's like Sato-san is going to be the captain of the national team, Japan national team. But for our club team, Toyota, we will be able to look at a larger scope and cover a larger scope, and that will also be something to consider as I take on this position of captain for the club team. And your Woven by Toyota experience, do you think it will be helping you with your new role? Yes, I think so. So as of now, I am in Woven by Toyota. I belong to Woven by Toyota, and this organization, we have relatively younger members, and this is a software development company. So we have a different culture, like an agile development culture, and the way of thinking is slightly different to TMC. Another thing is that this is also something Toyota should be focused on, but what we do at Woven by Toyota is that it is a company that we thoroughly have put importance on information sharing. The moment we talk about something, we try to go through many methods so that it will be shared with as much people as possible. Agile development requires that kind of a thorough information sharing. And that's also one thing, but also it is close in distance, probably to Toyota Motor Corporation, but we still have a distance. We're not at the same spot. I was in this company that was a little distance from TMC, and so this experience of looking at Toyota from that position outside of Toyota, a little distance from Toyota, was very valuable for me. I was able to understand things I've never understood when I was inside of TMC. So when there were things that I was impressed moving out of Toyota, Toyota and seeing from the outside perspective also thinks that I should change to this thing is not really acceptable. What is that? I wanted to think that what was the negative point that you recognize? Well, there's quite a lot actually. What I recognize that's not a good thing. Well, as much as you can say, if you can share some of the things you recognize on the negative side. Well, I think that at Toyota, people are really working very hard and with a strong mission. Each and every individual is working with a strong mission. And also, there's a lot of accumulation of the past experiences that we've had and the history. But on the other hand, if we try to do something new, we tend to be bound by the past precedents and also the past formula, try to be in line with how the things happened in the past. I think that's a tendency that TMC has. And of course, if we want to make improvements for the current business, it's a very important thing, important perspective. But if it's a new challenge, something new that we're trying to do, we need to take a different perspective and different approach. That's what I thought from an outside perspective. And so as president of TMC, how do you feel of that negative point out by Kon-san? Well, I agree to what he said because I think there's many things that you can only notice when you're outside the company, outside the organization. Like sometimes we can tend to be bossy, we may act bossy. I think he was trying to be very polite, but our company is a company that has a strong functional organization. We have strong functional capabilities, and everyone is working very hard, and they have no ill intents. But sometimes we're not very good in having collaboration cross-functionally. And like Kon-san has said, this movement by Toyota is focused on agile development, and from their perspective, from that environment, probably we are more kind of working in a standard way and being siloed. And so having this objective perspective and having that feeling that we need to change Toyota, that is very important to move us forward. And Chairman Toyota always says that since I'm from the development center R&D team, he says that you've always been nurtured in the ivory tower. So Kon-san will have a different perspective, and that is going to be very helpful for Toyota going forward. And also, Kato-san, for you, you've been visiting the Gemba very much, especially after Toyota experienced the certification issue. And is there anything that you wanted to succeed, pass down to Kon-san relative to the Gemba activities? Well, for the first year that you become a president, well, my first year as president, I had tried to come up with concrete initiatives so that Toyota can transform into a mobility company. But at that time, we had the certification issue come out. And the advice I got from Chairman Toyota was very simple and just one word. In these times, go to the Gemba, Sato. That was what he said. Very simple and very short. And I thought that because I was always at the Gemba doing development as an engineer, I thought I knew about the Gemba. But once I followed his advice and went to the Gemba, I found out that I had no idea about the Gemba. For Toyota, in all plants, Gembas, all the development Gembas, everyone is working very, very hard. And there are these many invisible heroes at Toyota making achievements and giving out results. And I didn't know about all of these efforts in Toyota where everyone was devoting all that they had and thought that I knew about Toyota's Gemba. So then what I thought is that if I can help to create an environment so that they can do something everyone wants to do, that's my role. And it's going to be a little emotional, but in Shimoyama there's a test course for Toyota. And my juniors at Shimoyama said that Sato-san, please come and drive our car. So they invite me, so I'll go, and I drove tested cars for a full day. So the guys who's engaged in development projects, they really have shining bright eyes, and they're fully having a lot of passion about developing cars. And when I became president, the message that I gave out was that I want to be a president that continues to make cars. And what I felt when I went to Shimoyama and met these young members who has these shiny eyes and enjoying and having so much passion for developing cars, I thought that what I want to do is to create that environment so that these people, these employees will be able to do fully on what they want to do. So when I think about helping others as an engineer, it's not for me to go in as one engineer and work together. I think my role
role is to create a environment for them to be able to do what they want to do. And Toyota, we're in this new position that we can't just think about ourselves. We have to think about the whole industry, about the country, the economic situation, the trade situation. All of this is all intertwined with what Toyota is doing. So thinking about that, at the beginning of this year, Chairman Toyota did the calligraphy, the New Year calligraphy, and he wrote the word ba, which that kanji character ba, which means space. So I thought that that ba, or this space of Toyota, is expanding and is changing. And it was a trigger for me to think about what is the ba that I should be in, and that connected into the decision that I made for this executive change. So you saw that those people, those he's and she's that were devoted and making cars and very passionate. So you thought that you should be able to help them and create that bar, create that space for them to excel. So we talked a little bit about car making, and Akio-san was an old man who loves to drive cars, and you were the guy that liked to make cars. So if we go in that style, then Kon-san, what kind of guy are you? Well, I also do love cars, but right now I'm in charge of finance and accounting, and so what I always think about is, I always think about money in creating a financial foundation so that we can make good cars and also profit. Money and profit and numbers is what I am focused on. So you're a guy who likes money and numbers. Yes, I guess I'll say that I'm a guy who loves numbers. I'm a guy that loves money. Well, but even if we say money, it's not that you want to keep that money for yourself. You're not the greedy type. Well, yes, that's what I think. I'm not that greedy type that I think. But this time when I heard about this appointment proposal from the executive appointment meeting people, I met with Chairman Toyota, and he mentioned the name of Taizo Ishida. So he was the big treasury keeper, the safe keeper of Kiichiro. Yes, he was the great Banto, or the consigliere in a certain sense to Kiichiro Toyota. And Taizo Ishida, he was a person who was very much fixed on the financials, and he would not use any wasteful penny. However, for the dreams that Kiichiro had, he would make courageous and bold decisions and make those big investments for Kiichiro's dream. And at Toyota, I believe that kind of way of thinking about money has not changed at Toyota. So I did say that I like and love money, but what I'm thinking of when I say I like money is I want to use money as for the future of Toyota, and also that money at Toyota is not something that we generated just only by Toyota. And so we should use that money that we have for others as well, for others in the industry, others in the country. And we are in a strong position to be able to do that, to use money for others. So that kind of a profit structure, that kind of a financial situation is something that we should always have attention on. And I believe that is why Chairman Toyota has raised the name of Taizo Ishida, and I want to make my efforts in that way too.
In the press release, Toyota's one of the important theme is to improve the break-even volume. And then in your New Year's remark, Koji-san, you want this year to be an intentional pause year. So now you are in the execution stage, which would emphasize production. That means rather than increasing the production volume, when you talk about productivity, you want to pay attention more to the quality aspect. I think both, because each unit of cars, especially, we are asking customers to wait for delivery of cars that they've ordered, and there are so many customers of such, and there are some constraints to production. Therefore, we want as many cars to be produced as possible and then deliver them to customers as fast as possible, and that is an important mission for us. On the other hand, as you mentioned, Tomikawa-san, quality. When it comes to Toyota's revenue, we don't have any numerical target. for our revenue. But no matter how the environment is harsh, we want to be a company who can incur revenue, and we don't stop our business. We don't have to give up on some things to come up with revenues. And I think that is the revenue stream and the structure that our stakeholders are requesting for. And in order to maintain that, we want to reduce the break-even volume points. In other words, even in a bad time, we want to hang in. And that is the kind of structure that we want to create as a company. Yes, so unless you have an earning power, well, unless we have an earning power, we cannot do what we want to do. So earning power is important in order for us to achieve what we should do. So Kon-san, you were very humble, and you are not trying to show, your aspect of loving cars. And I have to say this, when Kon-san and I had this minivan discussion before, Kon-san loves minivans. Minivans? Yeah, he was so humble that he is not talking about it. But once he starts talking about minivans, then he would talk about so Noah and Boxy. I think he loves those models. Minivans only. Yes, minivan limited. So is this not good? No, it's okay. So at the Rally Challenge, you were also participating, Kon-san, and I actually was interviewing, and then I asked you to compete. But so Rally and driving race, would you continue participating to these? Well, just like before, I want to continue to drive cars. That's my intention. Well, you make me feel better. So he is so good that I can't even compete against him. I'm going to pass the microphone to the audience soon. But Koji-san, did you talk with Akio-san about this role change? Yes, as I mentioned a little bit before, in January, I did discuss with Chairman Toyota, and we were saying that when we're trying to make Japan better, we do want to serve some roles. So it's a very simple thing, but the scope and his thinking and the chairman's passion was so simple, and that was a strong message to me. In other words, he won't talk about the details of the formation change. You might think that he will give you detailed instruction, but not at all. It's much smaller than or fewer than before, but rather he will give you this mainstream because we want to be instrumental in making Japan better. And then we've been talking about this industrial in report, industrial contribution. So this HR formation, is he involved at all? Well, like I said, no, he's not involved. I'm sure he has opinions, but he was not involved in decision making. At Toyota, we have the executive appointment meeting, and the members of this meeting will discuss voluntarily, and they have the authority to decide on or discuss and decide on this HR formation. So we have been reviewing this company structure, and then we became a company to have the committee with the auditors, and then now we have members for this executive appointment meeting, and that's where we start our activities from. From that timing, we started discussion of the to-be picture. For example, in risk management, when there is something wrong with the existing CEO, how do we maintain the business, and what should be the preparation that we have for successors? So that discussion started back then. And on this role change, when the decision was made at the end of last year that I would become the chairman of JAMA, and at that time, we started to discuss the details of this formation change, and then they got me involved in discussion, and I made this decision. And ultimately, we all decided at BOD that we are going to propose this to the general shareholders meeting. So, and as Kon-san was saying, what is Akio-san's impression? Well, as Kon-san was saying, that in each timing there is an appropriate formation, and that kind of flexible management is always called for. And from the viewpoint of Chairman Toyoda, I think he is 69 years old and he's going to turn 70 this year. And as he continues as the chairman, from now on, he says that there are 3 points that he want to focus on, and one of them is HR development. Under his leadership, learn the execution of management, and so that we can have a more rich pool of human resource who are involved in the management, and that's going to be quite important. And this formation change will make Toyota stronger. And if Toyota can continue to be strong, then that would be instrumental in making the industry stronger. So that is a kind of thinking I think he has against or at the backdrop of this HR change. So you mentioned about 3 focuses. We are going to distribute this in Toyota Times podcast by the end of this month. So now we'd like to take questions and comments from the audience, and please raise your hand, and when I call you, please let me know your company and also your name as well. Since we have limited time, we'd like to limit 1 question each. If there is a little more time, I think we can come back and receive more questions. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. The person in the front, please. I think you were the fastest to raise your hand. I'm Nikkei Crosstech. Takauchi Oka is my name. And I want to ask about the direction of engineering development. And if it is irrelevant, I'm sorry, but the end-to-end autonomous driving technology, Tesla and the Chinese players have been accelerating their development effort. And for this kind of a trend, Toyota, what is the current situation of the capabilities? And what will be your future policy to promote the development? Well, I want to understand how Kon-san views this topic. Thank you very much for your question. Well, regarding autonomous driving, if I can expand the scope, it will be including Toyota's SDVs. Why is Toyota engaged in developing SDVs? And when we think about this question, a little while ago, actually, there was their core direction that Chairman Toyoda showed to us, and that was the target to achieve 0 traffic accidents. And it's not going to be an easy path to achieve that, but I believe that we are steadily moving along this path toward the target. And for companies like Tesla and other companies, they have been quite quick on working on an AI-based, ML-based type of autonomous system. There are early entrants in this area, and if the question is Toyota advanced in their level, but that's not true, and there are many things that we can learn from these early players. But for Toyota, we have this 10 million of sales annually, and also the 150 million UIOs. It means that there is a huge source of data that we can rely on, and therefore we will be able to have good speed in catching up. I think that will be a way to exert our strength. And also there are the TSS, for example, that is something easy for the customers to accept, and that can secure the safety for customers. So those will be something that will be quite close to customers. And then there will be the systems that for the future, a complete autonomous system. We're working on all these ends. So when
Kon-san, you have the reason why you were selected as the president. Is it because there is a intention of Toyota to accelerate these technology development, including the autonomous driving system developments? Is there that kind of meaning behind your selection? Well, if you can comprehend in that way, I would be grateful if you interpret in that way. But for me, my understanding is that my main role is that for those kinds of technical development, for those who will be leading those efforts, it will be other engineering members. There's many engineers, talented engineers in our company. So the leaders we have those leaders. And for my part, I will have my role is to create a good environment so that we can invest in those areas, and also create an environment so that those engineers can try many options, not just to limit ourselves on one path, but to create an environment where we are able to test the various options and to be in a state where we can be durable in that kind of situation too, meaning that we have a good profit structure. So establishing this good profit structure, this foundation, so that people can take courageous challenges will be my role. Any other questions, please? Yes. This person in the front row. This is Taruno from NHK. I have a question to Kon-san. So at the background of this presidency change, you talked about how you want to improve the break-even volume. And then at Toyota, in the past 10 years, this number has been improving, I think. What kind of challenges and issues do you have? And as a president, how are you going to lead the solution for this problem or for this challenge? So we recognize the challenge, and we made the announcement of the fiscal numbers, and then break-even numbers in the past 1 or 2 years have been increasing little. There are some external reasons, and also the price level is another factor. But no matter how bad it becomes, no matter how tough the environment, we want to have a structure in place so that we can hang in there. And that is something that we are all aware. And there are many factors. Like Sato-san said, the functional axis, without having the overall picture, if we accumulate, I think we were too conscious of the benefits of each function rather than having a big picture. So in that sense, we want to have more cross-functional awareness, and I think people are more conscious of this more than before. And as we made the interim report, we are now, we have this theme of intentional pose, and Sato-san also talked about it. So we want to have more of a company-wide approach for this. So going to the next person, anyone who have any questions? The person in the back in the business suit. Nagai-san, please. I'm Nagai from TV Tokyo. I have a question to President Sato. Earlier, you mentioned that it was a short 3 years, but in the past 3 years as president, what were the things that you were able to accomplish? And on the other hand, in this short term of 3 years, that probably were things that you were not able to accomplish, and probably there's things that you want to succeed to Kon-san. Can you talk a little bit about those? Thank you for your question. Well, I don't think that there are any things that I need to do on a personal level. Like I said, the subject should not be I, but I should always be thinking from a we perspective. And we are now targeting to transform into a mobility company. And at the beginning, at the starting line, we did say that we want to become a mobility company, but what to do was very unclear. That was our starting line, and that was a starting line for the new management team. But in the past 3 years, we've tried to first take action. That was the consciousness that we had. And my feeling is that because we continue to take action, little by little, those concrete measures that we need to do, the initiatives, has becoming more clear. And when we know what kind of action we need to take more clearer, then we know the challenges. And then if we know the challenges, we're able to make the changes necessary to overcome those challenges. So I guess this initial torque to start and move as toward a mobility company was probably ignited by the efforts in the past 3 years. Then what will I want to succeed and pass on to Kon-san for him to continue on? That is, it will be all summarized in this word, let's make ever better cars. Taking this word and thinking about it with the whole company and seriously considering how we can achieve that, because at the end we're a car company, meaning that we have to have products that are attractive so that our customers would want to select our products. That is the center of our business. And currently, Toyota vehicles are being chosen and are being loved, and it is because of the past efforts. It's not the efforts of the 1-2 years that have paid off, because if you think about the car business lead time, the cars that you see in the market, it's those models that I was working as an engineer in the company 10 years ago. Those are finally bearing fruit right now in the market. So if we want to think 10 years in the future from here, then we want to make our efforts and sow the seeds now so that a decade later people will say that Toyota has ever better cars. And that means that Toyota's most important part that we continue to pursue ever better cars and sow the seeds for the future is very important. But I don't have to say this to Kon-san because I think he is well aware of this point and he'll continue on.
Thank you very much. Any other questions, please? Okay, the second person from here, the person in the center. My name is Fukui from Nikkan Jiro newspaper. I have a question to Kon-san. So, under the presidency of Sato, I think the team management and also evolution and inheritance was the theme. I do understand that some of the things are not too clear yet, but because of your financial background, including the next management structure, what will be your management policy that you want to focus on? So team management is something that you mentioned, and this will stay the same? Executive members, we have the presidents and divisional or chief officers, and all these executive members are there at Toyota. We don't have one Superman. We are working to make Toyota and Japan better altogether, and that kind of style is going to stay the same. And as Sato-san just said, making ever better cars, that theme or the mission will stay also the same. There is no person at Toyota who will not be involved in this mission. So we will all work together, thinking hard how we can make ever better cars and how we can transform into a mobility company. How can we provide better mobility to society? We would all think together, and then each one of us will take action respectively. I think that is the gist of our team management, and we will stick to that.
Thank you. Let's go on to the next person, the woman there. I'm Sato from TV Asahi. Thank you for the opportunity. So it was suddenly you decided to hold this press conference and you had no initial plan. But what is the reason why at the last minute you decided to hold this kind of a conference setting? Well, we need to do a timely disclosure regarding this content that we have decided. And today, this matter has been resolved at our BOD meeting. Therefore, since immediately after this resolution has made today, the timely disclosure was made, and therefore we created this opportunity to provide an explanation from ourselves. I think that just by issuing a press release, there will be thoughts of us and the background behind this decision that will not be understood fully. And we wanted to have an opportunity to convey our thoughts as well. That is why we use the setting of Toyota Times to hold this kind of opportunity. And also, apart from just having a one-sided communication, we wanted to put importance on an open-style communication. That is how we came up with this setup. Thank you.
Okay, next, this gentleman in the center. Chunichi Shimbun, my name is Atsumi. So you talked about HR development is one of the most important points for Toyota, and I have a question to both of you. Recently, I think you have been working to recover the uniqueness of Toyota. You want to, I think, continue this Toyota uniqueness so that it would not become like regular company. And what's your impression on this theme for Sato-san, looking back to your tenure, and also Kon-san for your presidency from April 1st onwards? Well, I will not pretend that I know everything, because this is a question that I've been asking myself all along. I've always asked what the unique point about Toyota. I don't have the correct answer. But for someone other than myself, or for the smiles of customers, as long as we have such colleagues at Toyota, I think it is important to have that kind of thinking at Toyota. And we have a Toyota precept. And then we have this thinking of always be faithful to your duties and thereby contribute to the company and to overall good. So that means we have to execute and then contribute to the society. And that is how we can have a meaning in our work. And that is always in my mind, and that should be in our mind to look back to what you're doing. Because when you are trying very hard, subject of the sentence tend to become yourself, and you become self-centered, but that will narrow down your perspective, and then you might digress from what Toyota should do. And I interpret that as to be a warning. I quite agree with what Sato-san said. For someone other than myself, that's how we started. And that is the weaving machine at the Chico, or loom that we started to work at the Chico. So this passion at the founding time has to be executed. So I don't have any correct answer. I think that is one of the big themes. And another point, which was also mentioned before, is that so Chairman used the word bar or place or space, and I think this is also correct. A gemba and uriba, or the sales front, we have to keep the focus on those words or places. And outside of those outside of those places, we don't make decisions or prioritize things. Anything that happens at those places or bar, we have to pay attention and take actions. I think that's the uniqueness of Toyota. That is what I think right now, and that's the mission I was given. And I will try to create such a bar for everyone else. That's the focus for me. Thank you.
Then maybe we can have one or two more from the floor and then go to the online members. Can't see very well from here. The person on that side. Please go ahead. I'm Yao from Nikkei newspapers. And I also want to ask Kon-san a question. So most recently, for the TOB of TICO project is being continuing, and you are Toyota Fudosan board member as well, and now you're going to become a representative director of TMC. So for this point, will there be any concerns of the conflict of interest? And also going forward for Toyota Fudosan's board member position, what is going to be done? Is there going to be a change in your role? That will be my question. First of all, for TICO's TOB, I have not participated in any of the decision-making at Toyota Motor Corporation, and there is an information blockade from between TMC and myself. So as an offerer, as an acquirer from Toyota Fudosan, I am participating in this transaction. And even with this role change this time that we announced today, we are going to have good management of the conflict of interest for this TICO transaction, and this will not change. Therefore, in the position of Toyota Fudosan, we are now in the period of TOB as an offerer. And for this transaction, I will continue to be participating from the board member position of Toyota Fudosan. Thank you.
Okay, we now like to take questions from the online participants. Mr. Hashimoto of the External Affairs will handle this Q&A. So if you have any questions for those remote participants, please push the raising your hand button, and then I would call on you. Okay, so Hans-san from Automotive News, please.
We'll be switching the screen, so when you see yourself on the screen, please start your question.
Hi, Automotive News のハンスです。よろしくお願いします。
I'm Hans from Automotive News.
日本語で聞いてもいいですか？
Is it okay to ask in Japanese?
もちろんです。
ごめんなさい。大間違いだ。英語で聞いてもいいですか？
Can I
すいません。
ask in English? I made a big mistake. Yes, please go ahead.
すいません。
English is fine.
やっぱり英語がいいですね。はい、
I like English better.
Can I ask a question about the idea of maybe changing the focus of the top management at Toyota? We might think of Sato-san as a car guy, engineer, focused on ever better cars. And we might think of Kon-san as a money numbers person, focused on future profits. What does this change of leadership say about the focus of Toyota's priorities for this new world of the automotive industry, with all the change coming in from China, from autonomous driving, from software and AI? Is fun to drive being, I guess, maybe taking a back seat to things like profitability, numbers, and the need for new kinds of technologies?
はい、私から伺いしたいのは、今回の変更によって、トヨタのトップマネジメントのフォーカスが、変わっていくということになるのでしょうか。まず佐藤さんのことを考えると、やはり頭に浮かぶのが、カーガイであるということ、それからエンジニアであること、もっといい車作りにフォーカスをしてきたというイメージがあります。そして今度、コンさんのことを考えると、どちらかというとお金ですとか数字の人というようなイメージで、そうすると、今後フォーカスしていくというのは、よりその将来的 的な利益、収益の方にフォーカスがあるのではないかというふうに感じます。今回このリーダーシップの変更によって、トヨタのこの新しい自動車産業が変わっていく中での優先順位が変わっていくということになるんでしょうか。今の自動車産業の変化は、例えば中国の台頭ですとか、また自動運転、ソフトウェア、AI などなど多くの変化が見られています。ファントゥードライブのトヨタのこれまでのフォーカスというのは、少しその優先順位といいますか、フォーカスがこの車の後部座席に下がるようにちょっと下がって、より利益ですとか数字のへのフォーカスが強まるということを示しているのでしょうか。
じゃあ先に今の方から。
So I think I will start to respond to your question first.
もっといい車作り
For the ever better car making and also the contribution to the industry, happiness for all, wellness for happiness for all, and for these kinds of purposes and targets that Toyota has, even though the leadership and formation will change, those will not change. I think rather it will be that those purposes and targets will be further strongly be promoted. I think it's a formation that we will be able to enhance the efforts to achieve those purposes. So I'm did say that I'm a person that will be focused on money and numbers, but that means that that vision that we have, the target purpose that we have, Toyota will be able to fully focus on those purposes. It doesn't mean that we just focus on a narrow-minded money side. That will not be our assess. We don't assess things just by money or numbers. It's not. That's not what I meant. It's about being prepared for the creating the future, so that the money can be invested for the future for our stakeholders. So the way we use money should be something that we feel the warmth of humans, the body temperature of humans. That is how I want to handle the money at Toyota, with the human warmth. And that is how I've thought of money from the past, and that will not change going to the future. Well, thank you very much, Han-san. And I'd also like to add a little bit of comment myself, too. For me, I think it's the opposite of you said. I think the focus of Fun to Drive is going to be more and more enhanced. And the reason why I say that is because, for example, if it is myself, and if you think about the many engineers, when we think about Fun to Drive, from our perspective, we think Fun to Drive is more kind of equivalent to engineering. But like what Kon-san has said earlier, Fun to Drive and Ever Better Car Making, there will not be anyone who is unrelated to Fun to Drive and Ever Better Car Making at Toyota. I think that was a very important point from Kon-san, because from many angles, there will be many ways on people to get involved in making ever better cars. And if we have the leader, Kon-san is the leader, there will be more people that will be looking in the same direction. Maybe some people will have thinking that if you're in accounting and finance, HR division, all of these works are always definitely been related to the ever better car making. And that is what the communication message will be from a leader like Kon-san. And I think that will light the passion inside of many, many people outside of the engineer community. So I think that our endeavor for ever better car making and Fun to Drive will be even more boosted. That's how I feel.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Han-san. We'd like to move to the next question. Tanigawa-san from Car Watch, please. We are going to switch the screen. So, when yourself appear on the screen, please start your question.
Hi,
this is Tanigawa from Car Watch. Can you hear me?
はい。入れられて、それから経団連副会長の仕事に注力されるという話なんですが、
I think you're going to be more focused on the
問題は
Keidanren and also JAMA's role, but the issue here is tariff and regional assets, and I'm sure there are many challenges.
どこに注力していくか。
What is the first point that you're going to start and more focused on? If you know your focus, please let us know. Another question is that in mid of January,
話なんですけど、
you were informed about it, and in the beginning of of January, you mentioned that you want to be a referee in between Akio Toyoda and Mr. Nakashima. But who is going to take this role now? So, do you want me to show the video of this referee? And we can start from there. Okay, so let's start from the second question.
僕答えるんですね。これ本当になんかGR のみんなが作ってくれた絵なんですけど AI で
GR members made this, but it's processed with AI, and I look like such an evil person.
まあこれだからコンさん
Yeah, Kon-san is going to do this. Please, would you?
いい顔に変わりました。これでいいです。
Yeah, we changed the facial expression. Yeah, I like this better.
なんて言うんでしょう。これってね、別にそのなんか社内が対立構造にあるっていう。
Okay, it is not to show that we have a conflict inside TMC. This passion of making ever better cars, I think, is multi-directional. We're not fixing the approach of making cars to one. You know, each one has its own passion, and that's what's being shown here. So Sato, trying to create this environment, I am actually watching this conflict with happiness, with fun. I like this, and I hope that we can change this person to Kon-san and then distribute this. And on your first question, actually we couldn't hear the first part. As the chairman of JAMA and also vice president of Keidanren, what will be your first thing to start? And what is the biggest challenge that you think is in front of you? Thank you for that question. Yes, in case of JAMA, there are 7 challenges that's in front of us, and how seriously can we tackle this? When they selected the chairman, we had a huge discussion with the top management of the member companies, and then I think we have a common understanding. Unless we go through changes in the industry, then this auto industry that Japan has always been cherished as the critical industry will no longer serve its role, and then the sense of crisis actually is common. So those competition amongst the companies in industry, we have to look at it from the big picture and then take specific actions. That is the kind of determination we have to have, and I think that's the consensus. So I'm not going to mention specific names, but Toyota and Honda, the era is not the time. It is not the time to do things differently amongst 2 OEMs. I shouldn't just mention Honda. I should just mention all the OEMs, Mazda and Nissan. That's my understanding. So 7 challenges. The social implementation is the goal, and then we are going to come up with the team to execute them, and how to implement them, and what are the choke points if it's not implemented, what kind of things that we need to overcome to tackle them. We will be very specific, and unlike before, where we had this regular meeting and discussion and then set direction. Unless we take actions, we won't be able to draw this blueprint. So my work, I think, is to draw a specific picture.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we've passed the 1 hour time, so I'll just check on what kind of comments that we see on our social media, and there's some questions that we can end with these social media comments. So the president, even if the structure changes, I hope that even if it changes, the everybody car making, if it continues, it's okay. So I guess this is okay. And Sato-san, I was waiting for the next MR2 coming out, next generation MR2 coming out. Accounting and finance background. So Toyota will only be thinking about money, and Morizo's initiatives, it's not going to be continued. No, this part we don't have to worry. And Kon-san, you have good voice, very good way of speaking, good president. So you're already receiving commandments. Now, that cost management, cost control is going to become more tough. Will it? I think so. So if you need to be careful. Taizo Ishida was a person that will not waste money but use where it's important. I guess that's going to be your policy. And the final question. I want the MC to ask how the Celica is going to turn out. This is a question from the car fan. So maybe we can ask Sato-san, Koji-san first. Or we can ask Kon-san. What is your expectation, Kon-san? What will happen, Kon-san, about the Celica? Well, I understand that this car has strong expectations. And I am the generation who enjoyed watching the movie Take Me to Skiing. And there, the Celica GT4, GR4 that came out has always been a model that I admired. I'm in that generation. So Sato-san, Nakajima-san doesn't really say this real thing like we're going to do or we're going to stop. They never let me know the true situation. So I assume that development is progressing. That's my assumption for now. So I have to confess I don't know the details about this development project. Well, I guess these kinds of good car making, ever better car making will continue. Right, when a good car, an ever better car is being developed, it's not about responding to the instructions from a company and given specific instructions. We don't develop ever better cars in that way. It's about passion. As long as there is passion and that fire of passion in this company, I don't think we have to be worried. So I was asking from a perspective from an MC, but now here my question is from a perspective of one independent employee of Toyota. So the future of Toyota is, can we be assured that it's okay? So one each. Well, in today's press conference, I think I hope that I was able to show the real atmosphere or the real kind of relations that we have at Toyota. At Toyota, the management team, even if we change the formation, we are a company that can continue to be steadily grounded on our core and focused on our core. So this is a kind of company that we are now, and I hope that you will continue to have high expectations to us, and we'll make our full effort to be able to respond to your expectations. We're okay. And Kon-san, so please listen to the employee's voice. Is Toyota okay going forward? Yes, we are okay. And from another perspective, from stakeholder, I would like to have stakeholders be confident to say that Toyota is okay. It doesn't have to be now, but even if it's a little while later, I would want to make my efforts so that all stakeholders will say that Toyota is okay. Thank you very much. I'm sure that there's much more questions that you wanted to ask, but with this, I'd like to end the Q&A session. So please rise and thank you very much, everyone. We will end our press conference here. And after this, we are going to go into the photo session. Everyone, please be reassured you'll be able to take a photo after this. Both of them will go behind the screen for a while, but we'll come back so that we will and have a photo session.
はい、それでは最初にオフィシャル撮影し
Start
ます
with
の
the
で、
official
金髪
shooting.
カメラマンでお願いします。
And please focus at the blonde cameraman.
なんかポージングしましょうね、ポージン
Should
グ、ね。
we have some kind of a pose?
サングラスでファイトでもいいですけど。
And maybe we can have that sunglasses again and do a fighting
コンさんちょっ
pose.
と緊張してません？
Kon-san, are you a little nervous? You look nervous. You kind of showing that you're not used to this kind of a setting. It's quite visible.
はい、まだ正面です。
And please continue to look at the front.
笑顔が足りなかったら言ってくださいね、皆さん。
And cameraman, if you think that the smile is not enough, please make sure to raise your voice and please look at the left side, or I'm sorry, the other side.
はい、左手の皆さんよろしいでしょうか。
Those on the left side.
はい。では右手見ましょう。
And to the right.
右手お二人見てください。ぜひこっちっていう方は手を挙げてください、ね。
And if you have a special request, please raise your hand.
はい、黒い方ですね。
The black person.
あ、大丈夫ですよ。ちょっと待ってくださいね。
And we'll
まだ
hold on.
大丈夫
We
ですよ。
still can look at the right
はい、
side.
右側見ててください。大丈夫ですね。はい、ではもう一回正
Very
面
good.
見ましょう。
Then to the
正面
front again.
はい。コンさん笑顔が疲れてきましたよ。
Kon-san, you look a little tired now. You have to hang in there. Smile, please.
これね、ばらつきのない笑顔っていうのを
So, I think,
得意にしておりまして。もう一回オフィシャルの方
Akio-san
だけ
is
入れ
very
させてくだ
good
さい。
in making a constant
すいま
smile. The official cameraman walks finally in the middle,
せん。気合を入
please.
れた笑顔でお願いします。
So, nice smile to end.
じゃああと10秒ぐらいで。
And maybe about 10 more seconds.
ポーズ変える。
And we'll
いや
change
ファイ
the
トはダメで
pose.
すからね。ファイト
No,
は
the
社
fighting
内抗争
pose?
です
No,
よね
that's going to be a company feud. So, no, that was the Tokyo Auto
オ
Salon.
ートサロンですから。
It's not for here. So, maybe a fist in the air.
そうですね。二人とも頑張るようだったらいいですね。
So, it's like, yes, both of us are
コン
going
さん上だ
to
けちょっと
make our
押していただい
efforts. So,
て
adjust the pose a bit.
はい、ありがとうございます。
Thank
で
you.
はムービーに移りたいと思い
And
ま
we'll
す。
go to the movies.
スチールの方一回座ってい
Still
ただいてよろしい
cameraman,
で
can you
しょ
sit
う
down
か。
for a moment?
かぶってしまうので。
And
はい、前
put
の
some
スチールの
space
方
for the
一旦
movie
お座りくだ
cameras.
さい。
Still
お願いし
camera
ます
people, please.
一旦座ってくだ
sit
さい。今度難しいですよ、ムービーですから。
Now it's going to be more difficult.
固まっ
It's
ちゃいけない
going
で
to
す。
be movies. You shouldn't
一回
just
整体してみ
stay
ましょうかね。一回
solid.
普通に立っていただいて、
So
普通に立っている姿を映していただいてから
Let's
正
do
面に見せます
first
ね。
a normal standing
そこから握
pose
手しましょう。
and then maybe
握手お願いします
shake hands.
ありがとうございます。
Thank you.
いいですね。
Looks
はい
good.
で、握手のまま、左
Stay,
手の方
have
に
your hand shaked, and then let's look to the left hand side to the end.
で、右手を
And the right hand side.
右手奥行きます。握手し直した方がいいとかあります
Maybe should we re-handshake?
大丈夫ですね。はい
Guess we're
じゃ
okay.
あせっかくだからさっきのポーズも
And maybe do
やってお
that
きましょうか
little pose that you practiced
正面でお願
earlier.
いします
So in the front.
正面ありがとうございます。
Thank you.
はい、次左
And left
奥
side
お願いします。
to the back.
お願いします。あ、いい顔になってます。いい顔になってます。はい、では右
You
手
look
の
good.
カメ
And
ラに
keep
お願い
that
します
smile on and go to the right hand side.
はい。コンさんの背中を触る手が優しい。
Your hand holding the back of Kon-san, very gentle. Sato-san's hand, very gently supporting Kon-san.
よろしい
I
でしょう
like
か。
how you
皆さん
this
よろしいでしょうかね。
how you both are standing, looking from the back. I think we're ready. So okay, thank you. So this photo session has ended. Thank you, everyone.